Hello again and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse and I am back for another hardware review video. This time we're taking a look at a little handheld gaming device that I completely forgot I had pre-ordered because I had pre-ordered it so long ago and the orders were backed up for quite a while actually. And we are looking at the Analogue Pocket. So the Analogue Pocket is, like I said, it's a handheld device that basically plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance titles by default, but you can get some adapters that will let you play other handheld platforms like like the Lynx, the Game Gear, and I can't even remember. There's one or two other ones that are out there. I don't have any of the adapters because I haven't really had any other portable gaming handhelds like other than the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. But yeah, here we go. So first, I will say their packaging is very kind of sleek, very minimal. You've got this dark grayish black box. It's kind of got a nice smooth, it's not really like a cheap feeling box, something you might find like Apple, or like I've seen other high-end headphones come in little boxes like this. It's really minimalist, but you can tell they were really kind of thinking through. This is the box for the Analogue Pocket itself. Now I did get two other accessories with it when I pre-ordered. I got the hard case and I got the dock, which I'm not going to show you the dock really much in this video. I'll show it to you, but I haven't done much of using it with the TV just yet. So that might be another video if I feel it's warranted, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a dock. You slide the little Analogue Pocket into it and you hook it up to the TV via HDMI, and you can play all of your handhelds on a modern TV, with HDMI. So of course, when you play handhelds like that on a larger screen, it's going to look more pixelated. It's going to look, not quite as good because you're blowing it up on a huge screen. But hey, especially for people who are visually impaired like myself, there are handheld games that I want to play, even action-heavy ones like Castlevania. The Castlevania series, where I played the heck out of the Game Boy Advance games. But yeah, it was really nice to be able to play them on the TV because I could read the inventory, I could read all the stats and different things a lot easier than I could on a tiny handheld screen. So let's put the box away for now. Let's look at the actual device. Here is the Analogue Pocket. I got the black version. I know there's a white version that some people have. I've seen that in a couple of other videos. I much prefer the black, especially when I show you the device being on. I much prefer the black because when you're looking at Game Boy Advance games, the screen is not exactly 1:1 aspect ratio, so you get a little bit of black bars on the top and bottom. But the nice thing about it is that because you have the black bezels or the dark gray bezels, it's not as noticeable. If you had the white one, you would definitely notice that a lot more. I noticed that in videos. So on the front, you've got your D-pad. You have 4 buttons. Now, most of your Game Boys, even Game Boy Advance, had 2 buttons. So this is really good for if you plan to put sideload other ROMs and stuff on here. You get different emulators or different things like that. If they come out with support for other devices that have the 4 face buttons, you got them. But you got your A, B, and X, Y basically. You have your start and select on the bottom, and then your analog or your home button in the middle, down in the bottom middle there. And that will basically take you home. You also hold it down with like other buttons like your D-pad to go, brightness or other different settings like that. I can't even remember what all the things do, but you can hold that down. It's a quick way to access some features. On the bottom, You've got an old link cable port, so if you want to play your good old-fashioned dual Tetris, you can. You've got a USB-C port, and you've got a headphone jack. So I like the fact that this charges via USB-C. I can hook it up to even my little hubs. I remember when I plugged my Steam Deck in, it was kind of complaining because the Steam Deck was it just took up so much juice that it couldn't charge it properly. But this seems to be working fine. So I've had no problem charging it. On the left-hand side, you have your power, which is the one that really stands out here. And then you have a volume rocker switch. Now that is one complaint, actually a couple minor complaints that I have here. At first I thought, when I didn't even look at it, I just felt two buttons next to each other. I'm like, oh, volume up, volume down. Where the hell is the power button? No, one of them is the power button. And they're so close together, so if I'm trying to, turn the volume up or down, it's such a small button that I feel like I really gotta purposely be very careful and hit the down or hit the up. And it's so close that I can't just, quickly, turn it up or down, and you could accidentally hit the sleep button. I think there should have been actual 3 buttons. An actual up button, down button, and then a power button. I think I would have liked that a lot better. So that's one of my minor complaints. On the right-hand side, you have a SD card slot here, or micro SD card slot, and I will tell you, I used it to upgrade the firmware just the other day, and it's really hard to put in there. Like, I actually had to use my key to kind of I had just cut my fingernails, and so I was trying to push it in there, and even to get the thing out, I think I might have to either grow my fingernails out a little bit or kind of poke something small in there just to kind of push it in so it can get it out again. Now that's good, because then it's unlikely that the micro SD card will fall out, but like I said, I actually couldn't really get it in there just by pushing with my fingernail. So that's good. On the top, you've really got nothing. It's a very minimalist, very clean design. What needs to be there is there. On the back, you've got, down below, you have your L and R buttons. So for Game Boy Advance games that use the L and R buttons, you have that. Now, control-wise, this is kind of my other complaint. The buttons feel fine, but notice how they're right next to the cartridge. I have a Game Boy Advance cartridge in there at the moment, and it's fine, but when you're playing, you either have to do, I found one of two things works. Like, I have fairly large hands, and I either have to claw, for games that use the L and R buttons a lot, I either have to claw grip the system, or what I find sometimes works is if you got between my first and second joint here on my finger, I'll take that and I'll just sort of have my fingers straight up, and I'll just use the kind of meaty part of my finger in between the two joints, and I'll just use that. So like my hands, if you can see, I'll do it the other way here. So I kind of use it like, you can kind of do it like that, and it kind of works, but it's not the most elegant for the left and right bumpers. I get the total nostalgia of having it look like an original Game Boy, like the original brick Game Boy, but just a lot nicer. And I love it. I love the look of this thing. But I kind of almost wish it had a Nintendo Switch or original Game Boy Advance layout, where you had the screen in the middle and then you had the controls on either side. I kind of think that would have been more comfortable, because it would have given you that little bit more space. You would still have the cartridge up here in the middle, but I think then you would have had a better you'd be able to easily use your bumpers more comfortably and not really have to claw grip or find an alternate way to kind of use the system. Before I turn it on, the last thing that I will say is that this device is not an emulator machine. There's a lot of cheapo devices that, you know, they'll use emulators and things like that. This actually has like a system on a chip. So it is playing Game Boy through, you know, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games in their original form. It is not emulating these. I'm not using ROMs. I'm literally putting in the cartridges. And that is why I bought this thing. I decided to purchase the Analogue Pocket to begin with, is because I had this urge to play some Game Boy, especially advanced games. I really wanted to play some WarioWare Twisted. I really wanted to play Metroid Zero Mission, a couple other titles. And just, you know, having this really high res, especially when you have the dock, being able to just slap it up to a HD screen. You know, my GameCube is in my closet buried somewhere. Not quite sure where my Game Boy player disc is. Just a nice modern way to be able to do that and do it cleanly. So yeah, it is not emulation. This is the real McCoy here. And the adapters, I've seen other videos of them. They just sit in the cartridge slot, and then the cartridge would sit up a little bit higher, of course. So yeah, let's turn this baby on. Analog. And boom, we're up and running. So that was from power off to ready to play. So I'm gonna get close here. And I've got a few options. I can play the game that is inserted. I've got a library thing, so if I do put things on my SD card, which I might try because I do have some ROMs that I could, like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance ROMs, that I might try to play. And I think that should technically work. But I wanted to review this as someone who wants to review it out of the box and use it for what it's originally meant for. And I also wanted to see, you know, again, being visually impaired, like if I get really close to it, I can kind of read some of the menus, especially if I familiarize myself with the order of things. I can kind of make out words. But I mean, I love the fact, and please don't complicate this anymore with a firmware update. I love the black background, white text, clean, simple, lack of style. You know, it's just plain old menu. I love that because it's for readability on a small screen like this. It's great. I very much appreciate that. Now, interestingly, the screen, that is another main draw of this device. So remember when I said Game Boy Advance games, it's not quite the same aspect ratio, but for Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, I forget the exact resolution, but it's basically accurately 10 times higher than the original resolution. And Game Boy, like I was playing the original old school Game Boy Tetris the other day, and it looks sharp, man. It is cool. So you can go down, and what's neat is you can actually adjust under settings. You can, let's see, I gotta back away here for a sec. You can literally go under, like, and customize each aspects of each platform individually. So if you want the Game Boy Color to be slightly a little bit different from original Game Boy, you can do that. There are audio, there are visual settings, there are a couple little categories. But let's, you know, again, I've been doing a lot of talking. Let's play some games, and let's show you, just like I said, how well this works. So I'm going to go ahead and play game. Now again, I recently did upgrade the firmware. When I got this thing, I had an older firmware. When I would go play game, it would just go into the game. Now you get this sort of info screen, and then I can go play. And now we're in. Let me crank up the volume a little. I don't even know what I have in here. I forgot what I had in here last. All right, hold on a minute. Okay, let me try that again. I don't even recognize this. Let's see. Yeah, this should be Zelda. That's right. I don't know why it came up like that before. Capcom. There we go. I don't know why that other thing came up. So I literally just started. Now this is that Link to the Past Four Swords Adventure. So I've got Link to the Past. Man, when this was before the Switch was out, having one of the greatest, if not the greatest game of all time. You know, I mean, I love the original Doom, but Link to the Past is right up there as far as awesome games. And to have that in a handheld form, so good. And my friend and I, we lived in an apartment together. We both had Game Boy Advances, and so we did try the Four Swords thing, and it was actually pretty fun. Now, they did actually make it better in the Four Swords Adventure for GameCube, which I would kill for them to release on the Switch again, especially if they made it where you could just go switch to switch, maybe local and online. Oh, that'd be great. Four Swords Adventure was awesome. So let's go ahead and... I love that title card. Yada yada. Oh, were you not going to let me skip this? I was hoping that I could get right into gameplay. But I mean, you see how crisp the screen is. Now, I don't think this is OLED or anything. It's LCD. But again, with a small screen like this, I mean, you can tell there's a little bit of letterboxing. See the little black bars on the bottom there and on the top. But with the black bezels, you don't really notice near as much. I do wish that Game Boy Advance, because that's really what I wanted to play mostly with this. I wanted to play that, so I wish that was a little bit better. But all things considered, it is fine. And again, this is something that I might hook up to, like if I want to play the Minish Cap again. And if I were able to do that with my hooking it up to the TV again to read some of the text and stuff easier, great. So unfortunately, I wasn't in a place where I could show you actual gameplay, but come on, it's a Link to the Past. Hopefully everybody's seen that. Again, I just slide it out. Let's pick up something else. Let's pick up another Game Boy Advance game. Now, I picked up these little cases way back in the day. I got a whole bunch of them just to better protect. I just grabbed something, let's shove it in, and then literally go back in. There we go. Ah, yes. Again, before it came to the Switch and PC and the Blizzard Arcade Collection, Rock and Roll Racing, heck yeah. And look at how nice that looks, the sharp blacks. Gotta be Hawk. Let's see. Let's see how well I can do this looking through my phone. Ah, wrong button. Paranoid. I mean, it plays totally fine. I can't play totally fine because I'm trying to play this from my phone. But... And I love the fact, like, this game, I love the, like, the stereotypical announcer monster truck guy. I mean, he's just the perfect voice for this. I love this game so much. This is by far, I think, my favorite 16-bit racing game. Rock and Roll Racing is freaking awesome. There we go. Let's lay some mines down. That's right. Kind of actually, I was just going to say, I'm kind of getting used to playing through here, but then I screw up. I'll finish this race and then we'll kick it up to another game. It sounds like he says wiper instead of viper. Wiper. There we go. Last lap. Plus, you can't say no to some Black Sabbath, man. Even in MIDI form. Black Sabbath is awesome. Da, da, da. Of course he is. Oh, God. All right. I love that. All right, so let's quit. There we go, another Game Boy Advance game. Maybe we'll look at one more. We'll put him back. And then I'll load a Game Boy Color and a regular Game Boy game to wrap things up. We're going to end with the all-time classic. Actually, oh yeah, we'll load one more. Regular. And then there's one other Game Boy Advance game I got to load. Oh, that's going to be really hard to play. Now, when I'm looking through the phone. Now, the other thing I will say, putting the cartridges in is really easy. But I find, people have complained where it's like, oh, the cartridges will be a little bit loose. They'll kind of wobble around a little bit. I haven't found that to be too much of an issue for me. Some titles, some cartridges may be a little bit more than others. What I have had happen a couple of times, and I haven't had this since the latest firmware update, but before that, I had a thing where, because I'm using the bumpers up here, the triggers, I've had it where, my hand hits the cartridge slightly, or it's resting, and even if I like push down, or if I kind of touch the cartridge and, not hard, but just even lightly, I've had it where it is enough to where the game will freeze. It'll hard lock up, and like the music will kind of keep playing, but the audio will go messed up, and then the game will essentially freeze, and like there's nothing you can do. You have to quit game and then relaunch it again. So that sucks. But let's go into one more game here. What did I even grab? I'm sure, I don't know. What the hell did I grab? Oh, Final Fight. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was playing this a little bit the other day. And look at it, it's just, it's Game Boy, man. It's Game Boy Advance. And we're playing Final Fight. Like, there's no really installing, there's no weirdness. It's just you plug in a cartridge and you go. I'll play through like the first screen or so here. Eat it, son. There we go. Come on, kill the barrel. There we go. Like I said, it's a little hard to line things up here because, again, I'm playing it through my phone, so I make sure that you have whatever's the screen is in focus. But okay, you done? And there you go. There's some Final Fight. Now, there's one other Game Boy Advance game I have to show you, because of course I do. And that is, I'm just going to set this down, the weird one. Yes, even games that have like a weird thing like the accelerometer, WarioWare Twisted totally works in this system. There you go. WarioWare Twisted. This is going to be hard to keep in view, so I apologize. The one thing I also miss, though, is I really wish you don't hear the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance like startup sounds, because it's just not built into the hardware. I kind of miss that, the little, you know, the little chime that you would get. Oh, this game is so good. This is definitely the best WarioWare. And this one, I don't think I have to tilt. This one, I think I just hit the A button for these mini games, but... Oh, wait, no, this is all tilts. Okay. Okay. So it's accelerometer. It's working fine. Oh. Fry, baby. There we go. Eat those. Again, the WarioWare, just a bunch of these mini games. There we go. Oh. Oh. There we go. Okay. I mean, each one of these takes like 3 seconds tops. Okay, and then that was our little intro to the game. So now I use my accelerometer, and I can go in, I just slightly tilt. I think she has the A button. I think. I'm trying to remember what her games are. I'm going to skip the cutscenes here. Oh yeah, this one. No, this is tilt. Oh, this is hard. Playing through the screen here, especially tilting. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do with that one. Oh, come on. Yeah, but the proof is it works. Okay. We'll play until I die or whatever, but... Oh, I gotta balance this, that's right. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, I gotta dodge those. I thought I had to connect them all. Okay, well, all right. So there you go. Even stuff with the accelerometer works. So to round things off, let's do a little Game Boy Color game here. And there you go. See, and that just fits really nicely up to the top of the system. Plop it in. Konami. Before there was Rock and Roll Racing, no, or actually this is more like Excite Bike. So Motocross Maniacs, this is a cool game. It's kind of like Excite Bike, but on crack. There we go. And look at how nice that sky looks. Like, it's just crisp. Oh, God. I bit it. Yeah, this one's really hard to play far away from me. There we go. Oh, God. I missed that one. Oh, and I bit it. Okay, this is going to go badly. Oops. Yeah, I didn't. land that very well. Oh, I shouldn't have boosted there. Now I screwed up that loop. And I'm out of boosts, I think. Yep. Crap. Well, I'm not going to win this one. Come on, boy. Yeah, this is going to go... Oh, that's bad. That slows me down, that stuff that I was in on the bottom there. There we go. Yeah, they're running out of time. Anyway, there you go, Motocross Maniac. So again, you get to see how, I mean, just, that is so sharp. It looks so good. And you know we got to end with the classic. This is what put Game Boy on the map. Super Mario Land was great, and so were its sequels, but Tetris was, oh, I can't tell you how much I've played this game. In high school, junior high, I played this like with my friends in the apartment. I mean, we were serious, man. I mean, you know, people say this is a E for everyone. No, man, this is M for mature, man, because we totally get into it here. Oh, shoot, I grabbed the wrong cartridge. Oh, my bad. Okay, I feel stupid. I was just kind of half looking at it. Okay, I didn't grab Tetris. I grabbed RC Pro-Am. My bad. So I feel stupid. Nevertheless, you get to see an original Game Boy game. Oh, well. I apologize. You know, again, seeing the label on the cartridge, being legally blind, it's kind of hard to see the actual label through the phone and everything, so my bad. But yes, Tetris is what put Game Boy on the map originally. But again, before there was rock and roll racing, you know, it's kind of cool that in this video I was able to show, oh, get out of my way, dudes. Before there was RC Pro-Am, or before there was rock and roll racing, there was RC Pro-Am, and there you go. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you Tetris because it's in that little... I'll show you all my other collection here, but there you go. I mean, look at how nice, look at how big, how nice it fills out that... how it fills it out nicely. It's just the aspect ratio is like perfect, but it's so much more crisp. So let's go ahead and quit. And that is the Analogue Pocket. So before I wrap up, I want to talk about a couple other quick things here. I'm just going to power her down for now. There we go. Zoop. And it's off. You can go into sleep mode as well, but you can also just turn it off. As I said, I did get a couple of accessories. Now this is the hard case, and had I realized what this actually was or how this actually was, I would not have ordered this. I do not like this hard case much at all. You know, their boxes, you know, their packaging was great. The way their system is made is great. But this is, I mean, yes, it fits in there perfectly. It's a case is designed specifically for it, but it's hard to open, for one. I forget what I have to do to open this. Okay, there we go. So it snaps open here, but I don't know. I don't like this case. I would much rather have some kind of a soft case with maybe a little pouch for a USB cable in there, maybe a little handle or a little lanyard where you could hang it around your neck or your shoulder. And I might look for a different like soft case for this thing should I want to take it somewhere. I don't know, man. It just, even the plastic kind of just feels not necessarily cheap, but I don't really like this case. I'm just gonna go out and say it. It is what it is. And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember what they charge for this. If it's like $20 or something. And I kind of regret buying this. So if you are looking at buying an Analogue Pocket, I would look elsewhere for a third-party case, unless you really want. I mean, I like it. Like if you want to keep this on your shelf, and you can display it, you keep the dust off the system itself. It works for that. But as far as kind of being more useful, I got to be honest, I'm not too much of a fan. So that is the Analogue Pocket and the case, and I will at least show you what the dock looks like. I'm going to lift up my phone out of the tripod here. There we go. Okay. So let me get up here, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. So this is, dang it, trying to get out of my thing here. Here is my little thing. I've got all kinds of cartridges in here. There's my Tetris cartridge. There's my Tetris cartridge. But I've got some Xbox demo discs in here, believe it or not. I forgot I even had these, but most of this whole little Rubbermaid is all Game Boy and Game Boy Advance cartridges. So I probably got a good 30, 40 games in here. I don't know, there's a lot. But there you go. That's why I wanted this device. If I go over here, this little guy right here is your dock. And it's got a little USB thing there. Now you can, when you put it in, it kind of just slides in. So I like the way that you can kind of slide it in and know that you're going to hit the USB-C port there. And it just kind of tilts up there. On the back, you've got your power, your HDMI, and then you have a USB port here on this side, and then one on the other side. So you got one on each side, and you'd be able to plug in controllers or, I'm not sure what else you would plug in USB, but that is the dock, and I like the fact, again, before you really only had the Game Boy player that I know of, if you wanted original hardware to play Game Boy Advance. Now, again, there are emulation devices that can do it, and mostly they do it pretty well. But like I said, I had these cartridges laying around, and I wanted to make use of them again. So both on the go and on the TV, I can do that. Now, the last thing I will say is the price. I'm not even sure what the price is. I want to say it's like $230, right around there right now, which is high. I mean, for a little bit more, you could get a Switch. For a little bit more, you could get a lower-end Steam Deck. You could get one of those emulation machines for cheaper than this. The dock itself is like $100. So I spent about, and I think I got mine maybe a little bit cheaper. I can't remember because I pre-ordered it, and I think they had like a little, I think it was a little bit cheaper in the beginning. But even so, let's say that I spent about $300 for this. That's a lot of money. And you probably could have, again, if you don't care and you just want to use emulation, that might be the way to go for you. But if you have a huge especially Game Boy library, if you want to go back and play original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games in basically 10 times but accurate resolution, and you want to be able to play those on your TV, or you just want to be able to play them on a really, really nice screen. I don't have to carry dozens of batteries with me if I go somewhere. You know, I just charge it via USB-C like everything else. It's great for that. So that could be a perk. So you just have to weigh, what is it worth to you? How many actual physical cartridges do you have? You know, is the cost worth the benefits that you're getting? I have not, like I said, I have not tried side loading. It does come with like a little app in there where you can play homebrew titles. So if people, you know, you put some homebrew games on an SD card, you can play them that way. And you should, I think, be able to play, again, and if I put actual Game Boy Advance ROMs on there, I should be able to play those, but I have not personally tested that yet. I've been really playing with this using my Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance collection. So that is the Analogue Pocket. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you found it helpful. Give it a like if you did. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.